Hello, my friends. Welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday for Tuesday, January 14th, 2025. This is Jennifer. Had a little change of scenery. I have taken my Talk to Me Tuesday blocks down because I want to show you guys the progress on my husband's bookcase quilt. So this is a little bit fandom, a little bit history, a little bit archaeology, so it's very, very personalized to him. There's a little bit of Fandom and stitches in here. There's a lot of embroidery in here. I told you guys last week that I thought that the reason I was so stuck on this project, which was started during the quilt along on Fandom and Stitches in 2021, the reason I was so stuck is I hadn't done a plan for the whole quilt. So that has finally been done, and I put everything in my EQ8 software, and including pictures of all of the blocks that I've already made and things that are in progress so that I can have a plan. So I have run this past my husband repeatedly because this is going to be his quilt, and this is my plan so far. So everywhere that you see these blocks, those are the blocks there. This order is not order. The only thing that's in order is the top row. That's the Egypt row. Everything else is just like, this is just what I've made so far. Little spaces where it says things like Greek mythos, which I have a plan for, it's just not made yet. I have other things where it just says like Lovecraft, because H.P. Lovecraft is something that he enjoys. And so that's something I'm working on. I'm very excited to have a roadmap because that is a huge help to me personally. Another thing I mentioned to you guys was I really want to learn more about my embroidery design software, and I have been working on that. A little disclaimer here, I will not be sharing any Fandom machine embroidery patterns. I was told by someone who would know quite a few years ago that sharing machine embroidery patterns that are Fandom related is a good way to get you a cease and desist letter. So I just don't do that. Some things are in the public domain, but most of them are not, and it's not worth risking it. So this banner was already in the Embrilliance software, and they have this feature called Envelope, which you can use to make letters the shape of whatever it is you're trying to make them the shape of. And this was really my first time playing with it, so I went ahead and used something they already had in the software, and I'm really happy with the way it came out. The reason this has a little flag on it is you'll see quite a few of these have flags, and that means either I want to add a book to this one specifically, or they don't have titles yet. So that just means they're not finished, so that I don't accidentally piece them into a top without finishing them. I'm just trying to keep track as I go. This is another little thing for the Lovecraft block that will go next to that. This Cthulhu came from Urban Threads. I've actually had it for a really long time. I think this is the first time I've ever stitched it out. But this shape is an applique shape from Embrilliance. I merged these two together. I made them into one thing so that I could make sort of like a stone tablet. So that's another thing that I was working on learning, is just how to combine more designs and things like that without it being too much, without the stitching being too heavy and all that kind of stuff. So I'm learning. This is the White Tree of Gondor from the Lord of the Rings, which, if you guys don't know, is my favorite fandom. I don't share a lot of it online because it's a very personal one to me, but Tolkien is my favorite author. Those are my favorite books, and I am a giant Tolkien nerd. So is my husband, which was one of the things that brought us together in the beginning. So this is the White Tree of Gondor, and I have a hand embroidery pattern for this, and I have a paper piece pattern for this on Fandom and Stitches from the Lord of the Rings quilt along that Lilia ran years ago. It's been quite a few years now, and I took my hand-drawn hand embroidery pattern and I used that to design this. This is the third version of this. The first two did not stitch out well. I did it wrong. I made mistakes. They looked terrible. And then I finally got there, and I'm really happy with this one. He's really happy with this one. And this may just be a standalone block. Again, I will not be sharing machine embroidered Fandom patterns. All my paper pieced ones, my applique ones, you can find those on Fandom and Stitches. I also made a couple of filler blocks since the last time you saw this project. There are a bunch of books here, and I have somewhere floating around. I have some other books that I just made for filler blocks. I have a lot more filler blocks to make, and yeah, so progress on this. I'm very happy with that. Everyone always asks what this background fabric is. This is grunge fig. It is a fantastic, gorgeous fabric. Highly recommend anything grunge for the background of a bookcase quilt. It is the perfect fabric. While I was practicing designing in Embrilliance, I decided to start kind of making myself almost like a little embroidery book or some sort of like cheat sheets. And one of the best ways for me to do that is to see the stitches for real. So I went through the different lines that you can choose from. There's a bunch of other stuff I want to do, but this was just a start for me. And I made this little guy. It's a little sampler that has all the different lines. And I'm not loving the text I chose, but I thought it was fun at the time. So we've got single, double, bean, chain, back stitch, stem stitch, and sashiko. So those are the different lines that you can use to draw with in Embrilliance. And then there are tons and tons of filler stitches, which I haven't played with like this, but I'm looking forward to doing that. That was pretty much it for this guy and for just playing with Embrilliance. I did learn a little bit. I've been watching some videos. They have a huge resource on YouTube of just different videos you can watch. When I finished playing with that, I decided I really needed a pair of pajamas. It's gotten colder here. It's not usually that cold in Texas, especially in Central Texas and South Texas, but we got an Arctic blast and it's been quite chilly. And I usually sleep in pajama shorts and that just wasn't working. So I pulled out all of my fabric that was more than 2 yards, and I had plenty left of my chocolate chip fabric that I used on the back of the Christmas quilt I made in 2023. And as a quick reminder, and for people that are new, I got a bolt of this fabric from Habitat Restore for $8. So this was about 50 cents a yard when I bought it because it was a full bolt of fabric. This was 100% cotton. No idea where it came from, but I don't even recall if I kept the selvage, so I really don't know. It's been a couple of years since I bought it. So anyway, this is actually a pair of PJ pants, and I used this pattern, which is something I already had. I made the pants from this for a Halloween costume for my son like years and years ago. This does not have pockets, so I added pockets. The pockets aren't perfect. They could be a little deeper, so I'm gonna play with that the next time I make this. They work okay, but I gotta have pockets because I always have tissues in the right hand pocket and I always have my phone in the left hand pocket because I have a lot of allergies and my phone is how I talk to Jules all day long every day. And anyway, so love these. I've already worn them. They're very comfortable. I did have to tweak the waistband a little bit from the original design because I'm really high-waisted and they just weren't high enough. So I just added like 1.5 inches and that worked way better for me. I always get a size bigger in my pajama pants because I want them to be very comfy, and these are a size bigger. The waist isn't, or the elastic isn't, but the pants are a size bigger than I technically need, but I am all about comfort when I'm in my pajamas. That is going to be just about it for me. I'm going to keep playing in my software and let you guys know how that's going. I do want to say that I have been keeping up with all the stuff going on in California. If you're in California, my heart is absolutely with you. I don't know that I've ever mentioned it here, but we actually lived in Southern California for a couple years when we first got married, and my husband's company that he works for is based out of Southern California, and he goes there. He's going there next month. So I mean, it's a big part of our lives and has been for a really long time, and I cannot stop looking at the news. So if you guys are in California, check in, let me know you're okay. I hope you have a good week, a crafty week. I hope you're safe, and I'll see you next week. Bye.